Again, this is our 90-day call here, where we have our guest speakers drop 3 nuggets on how to do a successful 90-day run, some important tips coming from the very best. I mean, if you think about that, 90 days or 3 nuggets a day, that's 270 nuggets, right? To help you explode your business in a 90-day run. So if you haven't yet, make sure that you join our group me. I believe it's a WhatsApp. I always get confused. The WhatsApp by texting me directly at 305-282-1839. Just text me the words "I'm in," and I'll be more than happy to send you the link to join us. We actually run incentives. We keep each other motivated on that. So make sure that you partake in that. So without any further ado, folks, I want to make sure that we do this properly and invite in our guest speaker and do it the right way. Silver Executive Director, State Vice President, $200,000 income earner, and an absolute beast here in the world of Legal Shield, Mr. Alex Shahid. Over to you, my friend.
Awesome. Can you hear me all right?
Loud and clear, brother. Good morning.
Good deal. Good morning, man. How are you doing?
Awesome, brother. Appreciate you being on with us this morning.
Man, me too. I know that you can't have a plane that flies without gravity, so difficulty is required in life. Smooth sea never created a skilled sailor. And so, one of the first things I would say about a 90-day run is it's okay to have adversity. And I would even expect it, because anytime that you're running harder than normal, you're going to experience more fatigue. So, for those of you that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Alex Shahid. I've been involved in Legal Shield. September makes 11 years. I was a 23-year-old college kid out of the University of Alabama. I was working nights and weekends as a server and a personal trainer. And I was the kid who was about to graduate and had no clue what I wanted to do as a career. As a matter of fact, it was a lot of anxiety for me as a junior in college, trying to pick the path for the rest of my life. And so you probably know some people. I think if you're recruiting in college, freshman, sophomore, 18, 19, that's not, good recruits. I mean, they're just trying to figure out what they want to do on a Friday night. But when you get into that junior, senior year of college, that 20, 21, 22 range, hey, whoever, Lewis, Allman, we're talking about winners, man. We're talking about winning today, not the Tigers. Winning. That means roll tide. When you have the microphone, you could tell whoever team you think is a winner, but I have the facts. 17 or 18 national championships. It's a fact. We're a winner. So I wanted to find something that I could have a solid career and future in. And I didn't see that in Legal Shield from day one. I saw an amazing service that could provide some additional income to make some additional money. And when I started to come to these training calls like this, and listen to people that were already making a 6-figure income, when I went to the international convention like we have in Phoenix, Arizona, in just a few months, that's when I realized that this was a career path for me. And so let me digress right back to in a 90-day run. So I used a 90-day run to completely transform my career back in 2015. I think it's important, yes, the how-tos, and I'll drop a couple of nuggets at the end, but it's the why to and does it work? So normally in this business, why we do a 90-day run is to get out of a rut, is to get unstuck from a particular situation. For me, I was sad. I was very sad. And for some of you know what that acronym stands for, stuck at director. So I was sad for a couple of years. I was stuck at director for a couple of years. And Julia was like, come on, you got to figure this thing out. And I was like, look, my dad has a very successful company. And I was like, he's getting older. He needs my help. I really should be helping dad with the business and still doing Legal Shield, but part-time. And I was basically justifying my way out of being a full-time Legal Shield associate. And Julia said something to me that was so significant. She said, I will divorce your ass if you give up now. I've not put up with your crap for the last 5 years for you to not make money with this thing. She goes, I'm already paying the bills anyway. You need to get your ass to work. So I was like, oh, okay. So I need to do that. And I had to figure out what getting my butt to work looked like, because before I was quote unquote working but not experiencing the results that I wanted. I don't know if any of y'all are in that situation. You're like, I'm working my business, I'm making the calls, but I'm not experiencing the results. And I remember watching a 90-day run with Eric Worre on YouTube. And he basically said that you're working the business just hard enough to piss your family off. He goes, let me give you an example. So your brother David calls me up. He's like, hey bro, what are you doing? Let's go fishing this weekend. Oh man, I can't. I got a super Saturday I gotta go to. I can't go fishing. He's like, oh, okay. Jim calls and Jim's like, hey man, my daughter's getting married in a month. I want to invite you to the wedding. Y'all are some of our best friends. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to be out of town for work that weekend. Another one of my friends says, hey, Taco Tuesday. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm working. And all these times I'm quote unquote working because I'm busy, but not productive. And then your friends and family stop reaching out to you. They stop asking you to do things. They stop wanting to connect with you because all you're doing is working, but they never see the fruits of your labor because you're only working sporadically throughout the day. You take up your time throughout the day at work and with other things, and at night you make a couple of phone calls, you jump on a few trainings, and that takes an hour or two, but it's right in the middle of everything else you could be doing with your friends, so you can't hang out. And I remember Eric saying, you got to make one of two choices. It's better to either go spare time, part-time, and stop pushing so hard, or dig in for 90 days. No Taco Tuesday, Wine Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday, Sunday Fun Day for 90 days. And I'm like, oh man, that's a lot. I love Taco Tuesday and Wine Wednesday and Thirsty Thursday and Sunday Fun Day. So I had a difficult time with this, but I made a decision. I said, what is 90 days really? I mean, if you rolled out 90 days in a year, I mean, you're talking about a fourth of a year. That's like not even 0.1 of a decade, right? So I'm like, okay, that's not that long of a time. I can psych myself out for 90 days. And so I got committed. I had focus, urgency, and activity. So those are my three things: focus, urgency, and activity. I had focus, urgency, and activity during that 90-day run. And so what did I focus on? Well, I focused on my list. So every night, I never went to sleep on my business. So if I went to networking events and to Chamber of Commerce and stuff throughout the day, and whatever you guys are doing, like there's nothing wrong with it. Some of that's open, some of it's not. Some of that means that you need to transition to Facebook and do Facebook groups and so on and so forth. My training today is not how to find people. There's plenty of that. It's the how to organize your schedule. And so before the evening, I'd grab a Coke Zero or a beer or whatever I wanted to drink that night. And I'd sit at my desk and I would go through the cards I got through the day. I went through the context I went through the day. And I said, okay, what did Jim say? What did Lewis say? What did Mark say? What did Terrell say? What did Bridget say? What did Monica say? And when am I following up with those people? And so I would schedule those follow-ups in the days they told me in my physical calendar. Guys, I know I'm 33 today. And back in 2015, I was, when I was 6 years ago, I was like 26. But I use physical calendars. Like I have digital reminders on my cell phone, but I like to have a physical calendar because on that physical calendar, I'm able to go back and look at my schedule and see where everything's at. And so I make my call list for the night before. I personally was shooting for 25 calls a day. I know some people say 50 calls. I know some people talk about 100 calls, but I'm going to be real. Lewis, if I put 100 names on my call list, they ain't going to all get called. And then I'm going to have to transfer those names to the next day and transfer them the next day. I knew that I would commit to 25 physical calls a day and that I would do it. The key is completion. You show me somebody that has confidence in themselves, and I'll show you somebody that completes projects, activities, and promises that they made to themselves. You lack self-confidence, I will continually breaks promises, doesn't follow through, and doesn't finish things they tell themselves they're going to do. So completion is the key. Absolutely. I would encourage you, put 5 names, put 10 names, put 15, put 20. Do not put more names on your list the night before than you intend to fully commit to calling and completing the next day. But that's one of the keys, is the focus on the activity the night before. Because if Daniel wakes up, like, I know this is not his situation, but let's say he's got a full-time job. Let's say he's got a part-time job. Let's say he's got a full-time family, which I know that to be true, right? He's got all these things going on. He's like, Jesus, I don't know when I'm going to have time for Legal Shield. Well, he's got his list there. And I like to have a physical notebook, or for some of you that are on the go, like my trick during school is I'd have a 3x5 note card. You could put 10 people. If you fold the 3x5 in half, you could fit 20 people on it, 10 in each square, 10 in this square, 10 in this square, 10 on the back, 10 on the other sides, 40 people. Now, I remember I said we're calling 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, whatever you're comfortable with. And so I had those names and I put that note card in my pocket so that when I was at a stoplight or out, and I had just a moment of time, I pulled the note card out and made the phone calls. Urgency. So the urgency is that anytime it was a business opportunity. What do I mean by that? Daniel is a small business owner, and he calls me up and he says, hey man, are you free for lunch? That's not Taco Tuesday or Wine Wednesday. That's somebody that does not own the membership. Now, Daniel says, are you free for lunch, and owns the membership. I said, hey man, I've got a lot going on today. I'm eating at the house. Daniel does not own the membership. I said, absolutely, I'm free. What's up? Anytime, the urgency is anytime you have an opportunity to get in front of a prospect, you say yes. You say no to non-income producing activity and yes to income producing activity. Now, let me give you a caveat. Schedule downtime during your 90-day run. Schedule a date night. Schedule a movie with your family. Schedule it. But if it pops up sporadically, like movie night pops up sporadically at my house. Like I'll walk upstairs and the kid's like, movie. And I'm like, oh man, that sounds so good. Okay, I'll sit down here and watch a movie with you. Like, that's my life currently right now, right? I'm not on a 90-day run where I'm having this level of commitment right now. And that's for me personally. And that's okay. Look, another thing is don't judge people that are going faster or slower around you, because comparison is the killer of dreams. You say, well, Lewis said he was going to be on a 90-day run and I see him at the lake and it's a Tuesday. He lied to me. Well, he lied to himself, whatever. It's his goals. Don't worry about it. Do you. Don't judge other people, right? I've called mentors in my career that were going balls to the wall and I was going to the beach or something. And they made me feel bad about being at the beach. I'm like, dude, this is my rest time. So if your mentor, if your coach is at the beach hanging out, doing their thing, that's, this is your time for a 90-day run. It's personal, not for them. So always say yes to income producing activity during a 90-day run. If a friend calls you up and says, hey man, you want to grab Waffle House tonight, and it's 9:00 at night and they don't have a membership, and your significant other won't shoot you for going to Waffle House at 9:00 at night, you say yes and you go to Waffle House and you eat with that person because they don't own the membership. They're not a prospect yet. So the goal is to get in front of more people with urgency during the 90-day run, whether it's Zoom, whether it's in person, right? You got to translate to the 21st century and whatever you're comfortable with, getting in front of more people. And then the last thing is activity. And you've got to set a minimum bar for yourself. You've got to set a minimum bar for yourself. I disagree. It's the awesome waffle. Anyway, minimum bar for yourself, meaning, for Jim, that may be, I'm going to do 5 exposures a day. For Terrell, he's like, man, I'm doing 10 exposures a day. We talk about 2 exposures a day being a baseline, and that is a baseline for a normal daily routine. But for a 90-day run, 3, at least bump it by 1, 4, double it, 6, triple it, go to 10, 7, lucky number 7. I like the number 7. It's biblical, right? 7's a good number. Maybe go with 7 exposures a day. Whatever that number is for you, you've got to set an activity goal so that you understand every day. Lewis doesn't go to bed thinking, man, I was busy tonight. I was busy today. Okay, Lewis, you were busy, but did you get your 7 exposures? Well, I've spent a lot of time with people on the phone. I didn't quite get to 7. Oh, how many did you get to? Well, I got to 1. Well, that would not be a successful day. So you got to know what the activity minimum bar is for the day. And yes, okay, Lewis reached his 25 calls for the day, but out of the 25 calls, only 3 people picked up and only 1 agreed to look at information. So he's got to look at the people he's calling. He's got to look at, who these people are. Do they know them? So there's plan, do, review that goes in on a daily basis during the 90 days. And that's what your evening I don't want to call it evening beer session, but that's what it was for me because I was tired at the end of the day and I like a good beer. So I set my ice cold beer on my desk. I'm drinking it while I'm going over my notes for the day. How many calls did I make? How many exposures did I do? What was the answers? Were they favorable? How many follow-ups do I have? So I knew that my schedule was booked out. And here's the thing. You do this right and you start to begin to book out your schedule days in advance. Then your schedule gets booked out a week in advance. Then you're 2 weeks in advance. If you do it right, if you have a bunch of white space in your calendar, then you're probably not effectively running a 90-day run. So here's the thing I'll say in wrapping up. And then if Mr. Gonzalez has any questions, that 90-day run, we were not executive director before the 90-day run. Now, my first 5 years in the business, I had executive director, 3 to 5 times, maybe. I would hit it and I'd miss, hit it, miss, hit it, miss. And so I was not consistent or consistently executive director qualified. But during this 90-day run, I rallied the team. Now, it's a good idea to rally the team, but whatever they do, they do. Whatever you do, you do. And month 2 of 90, we qualified executive director. And I have not missed executive director since that date in 2015. So that's 6 years of executive director consistent qualification from one 90-day run. Now, were there bursts of effort since then? Sure. Have I ever done another 90-day run as intense as that one in 2015? The answer is yes, one. Y'all want to take a wild guess when it was? How about last year when I got 3 rings? And it went actually 5 months. It went from January to May. It was supposed to go from January to March, but when the whole country shut down, I figured I'd just go ahead and continue on into June. So we did a 5-month blitz last year, and that 5 months just catapulted our income level 4x. And so these 90-day runs work. They're effective. They are work, meaning that you will exert yourself above and beyond. And just like the gym, if I'm going and I'm lifting weights and my biceps are sore, my chest is sore, my back is sore, what do? I take supplements. I take branched chain amino acids. I take fish oils. I drink protein. I do things to make sure that my body is replenished of the additional fuel that was drained. Same thing during a 90-day run. If Lewis is reading a book or listening to an audio, that's not enough during a 90-day run. He needs to be reading 2 books, listening to 2 hours of audio, because his brain is going to be fatigued above and beyond its regular limits, talking to a bunch of people, hearing negative stuff, hearing dumb people. I mean, I'm just being real, guys. When you call a lot of people, you hear some dumb people, and it's discouraging to talk to so many people that don't have goals, dreams, and aspirations. And so you got to have a strong mind during that period of time. You have to be exercising that. And so the fact that you are supplementing your mind with a personal growth and development, jumping on these calls and keeping a true North Star, this 90 days can completely transform your business forever. You could executive director qualify during this 90-day run and never miss it again for a half a decade from the work that you do right now in 2021. So, Mr. Gonzalez, I appreciate the opportunity to share. If you've got anything else, I'd be happy to fill in the gaps.
No, dude, I appreciate you, man. That was fire. I literally took 1.5 pages of notes on that, bro. I mean, I felt like you were talking to me directly, except for the Waffle House part, man. It's awful waffle, brother. You gotta say no to that. I'm just kidding, man. I like Waffle House. We just I calls it awful waffle just because it rhymes. It's cute. But I do appreciate you, man, getting up this early, sharing with Florida, showing up to help us go up, my friend. Thank you so much for everything you do and the way you lead by example. And of course, without fail, he's going to say roll tide before he takes off.
Roll tide.
That's just Mr. Shahid. So, hey, man, I really appreciate you. Guys, let's give him a round of applause, put it in the chat. Let him know that we appreciate him. Thank you so much, man. And I'll catch up with you shortly, bro. We'll talk. So, hey, guys, and wrapping up here, I just want to share with you, we got an awesome speaker for tomorrow. Give me a second. Let me put this up here. There we go. Okay, we got Mr. Brock Johnson. Brock Johnson, he is a $50,000 income earner, an executive director, and a regional director out of New Jersey. If you haven't heard this gentleman train, he brings the knowledge. He is a personally developed trainer. So you definitely want to make sure you put your teams to be on here. If you haven't heard him train, then tomorrow will be a great treat for you. So guys, let's get out there and get it. We got amazing incentives in place right now. We got the Maui trip that we're shooting for. Stay laser focused. I mean, Alex gave it to us. You got to stay focused. You have to have urgency, and you got to have planned activity. Go get it done. And we will see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Florida. Love you guys. Have an awesome day.